Wi-Fi router, so hopefully it'll help here.
Here we go. That's better. What's up, guys? Cutternation podcast 67.
Here we are.
Where the streak is alive.
Hump day.
We're still going.
It's hump day.
Wednesday. One of our most favorite humans of all time is on today. But first, don't forget, please rate, review, subscribe, share this. Do everything you can to engage with us. We need questions. We need suggestions of people. Link us up with people. Tag us on Twitter. Also, don't forget to check out the online store. We got our awesome hats on here. These are $25 plus shipping. And we've got all our styles back. We've got our shirts. Strike out everyone, because we know that pitchers need more love. It's not always about the dingers. It can be about both. And what a better segue to talk about somebody who can do both, Mr. Cordell Greene. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us. It's always good. Cash, I love you too. Give me that Cutternation shirt. That Cutternation shirt.
Okay, hold on. So everybody, he intentionally calls me Cash, and I love it so much. I have one of my best friend's dads calls me Kaz, and everyone's like,
yes,
Kaz. Like, just for the record, continue.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
We
Let me see
all
that shirt,
roast
though.
each other pretty well.
Let's see that shirt for the people. Yes, that is one of my favorite shirts, by the way. One of my favorite shirts. Just want to throw that out there before we begin.
Well, I'll have to, hopefully when we can get together again, I'll have to bring up a care package.
Hey, by the way, it is Redness Day.
Okay.
You both missed the message.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I wanted to wear the
sorry
Strike Out
about that.
Everyone shirt. I need to get better red shirt.
Yeah, red's a tough one to have a lot of,
I got a red.
Why don't you tell us about your, So recently you just started an apparel line also. What do we got? What are the options? What was the inspiration?
Well, honestly, I'm getting ready because we're working on the app right now. So I'm going to come out with an app here in probably like 2.5 months. So you'll log in there. The athlete will be able to onboard videos, whether it's at home, games, whatever it is. And I'll be able to prescribe certain deficiencies with those videos. So I'll just click. They'll go home. They'll have their rep and their set count of what they need to feel out, what they need to be doing. And then we'll obviously have a lot more progression, kind of like a strength and conditioning program, but for skill building. And so I needed an official logo. I need to have merchandise. I need to be able to look the part, right? You need to be able to act the part, look the part.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, need to rebrand the logo, need to vamp up the merchandise, because the merchandise was as old as my grandpa. When you went on the Shopify, it was like from 2017. So we need a whole new rebranding. That's kind of where the logo came from and all the merchandise. But we offer sweatshirts and a shirt. And shirts. We got different color variations, different logo variations, but we'll expand to shorts, hats, all that. But for now, we're just starting out here, seeing how it works, and then build off of that.
So it's a remote training app or an in-training app. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if
Both.
You're at your gym. Yeah, you're at your gym, but it's basically like your notebook to your program. I love that. You get the natural ball player experience right there. It's amazing.
Definitely, yeah. And I figured we're at the point where you're getting a lot of these companies, whether it's P3, whether it's Driveline, it's these programs that already have online remote client access, top tier. I mean, there's a lot of different ones that have these apps. And I think that if I'm going to be able to stay competitive, to be able to work with the athletes at the next level, you got to show that you're continuing to grow in the direction that these athletes are going with data-driven technology. I think an app is necessary.
I'm in. We'll talk.
Well, for you,
we'll start the process, but yeah.
I think what I wanted to touch on was last time what we were talking about, the pitch logic ball. Obviously, what you guys are doing right now with remote training, because you guys are putting out some really good videos of working at home. Like, you've got some different drill variations that I want to cover with you guys, because I'm seeing the benefit with whether it's you're loading your back hip, it's getting a better peak and turning pronation, whatever it may be. You guys are doing a good job of developing to that remote training. That's something that I'm fortunate I'm not doing right now, because I've had the ability to still work with athletes. So kind of fill me in on the pitch logic, what you guys are seeing, and then we'll kind of see where it goes from there.
Let's see if I got it somewhere around here. Right?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even think I have it in me.
They're all in the
It's
gym.
in my bag. No, it's in my bag. No, okay. So the pitch logic ball is probably, so you and I have talked about the issues with radar guns, right? We've talked about that. a lot extensively about, sometimes they spike, sometimes they dip, sometimes they're affected by the volume of the gym. And so the pitch logic ball is interesting to me because looking at the way guys are throwing and understanding that, no technology is perfect, but, this seems to be one of the most accurate things that I can see, where it's easy to expose things that I cannot see in person at low effort in these drills. And that's really where I like it. So starting to quantify some of these drills where you're actually working on not only the movement pattern, but the spin efficiency at the same time seems to be the most effective thing that I'm seeing for kids to figure out things faster, which is tremendous when it comes to skill development, because think about for how long, let's say a 9-year-old is throwing, right? And a 9-year-old could probably develop a pretty gnarly habit of cutting or sinking the ball, pronating or supinating too much without even realizing it, and so the earlier that you can create that relationship of understanding of like the direction of the ball and how it's supposed to roll off your fingers and what that feels like, and being consistent with that, then you can really start developing a mastery at an earlier age. And I think that's tremendous. That's why I enjoy it.
Yeah. Cash, what do you think?
Well, so it's like this idea, is falls right in line with us talking about the rules. So I think something that is, like John just said, that's what I'm attracted to it by, right? It's the awareness of, I think this move is everything. I think a lot of people would agree with that. Like, you have to come across the ball at some point like this. I don't care what you think about anything else. When the ball is coming out of your hand, we should be agreeing on that, because that's how spin is created, right? So this is the whole point of technology, right? And so it's cool that is able to happen. Now, the hard part is, what do we do from there then, right? But I think the cool thing is that it's actually way more valuable than I think people are admitting, right? I think just manipulating that part alone has huge implications for how the body wants to organize itself before and after that, right? So the more that I learn about just like motor learning in general and how people acquire skill, I think the simpler you can make it. Like, the body is so intelligent. The brain, we can't even wrap our minds around how, we don't even understand what we don't understand. So it's easy to get lost in the complexity of throwing. It's easy to get lost in the complexity of nutrition, diet. There's so many things that we can go into. So for you to be able to just simplify it into, okay, I don't know how I'm going to accomplish the task necessarily, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to make sure that my metrics are consistent, and I'm going to achieve something within this window. So it's really just like a safeguard in a world where a lot of people are confused by a lot of information. And I mean, that you got to just have to understand how to keep it in context. It's not like other things that I think, what's the worst that could happen with you using some of this technology, right? Like, what's the worst that could happen from using a pitch logic ball? Right? Like,
I think it totally, one other thing that's tremendous is that it's the next step to the data collection process, right?
Yep.
What are all the technologies that capture spin? Rapsodo, Stalker does it now, TrackMan, and what's the other one?
Strike baseball we have.
There's one more big one.
Diamond Kinetics.
But no, there's another like TrackMan style one. What's it called?
Rapsodo. Have we said Rapsodo?
We did say Rapsodo. Mm-hmm. There's another big one like that. Anyway, Flight Scope.
Oh, yeah,
that's
Flight
what it was.
Scope.
There you go. Flight
and
Scope.
then Yaper. So we're up to like 10 technology companies that are kind of doing this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
None of them have displayed the fact that you can capture spin in drills. It's always been on the mound situation, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you're only capturing the data in the spin inside of those drills, then you're not maximizing the functionality of technology on what it's doing.
And I hadn't thought about it this before. One thing that John and I have always agreed on is how literal we want our drills to be. I don't want you to practice something that is way different than what throwing is. And so you can kind of expose that. Like, some people might be doing pivot picks with a ton of cut on the ball. It's like, don't do that. Right here, pitch logic it up. 5 throws. It's like, oh, that's a whole different throw for them. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
especially with go ahead. I'm sorry.
What I was gonna say is, so I play around with it. I've got a couple college and pro guys that are coming on Saturday. We're gonna use it. For me, the momentum throws, it did not pick it up at all. Like it wouldn't pick it up at all. The best thing that I've gotten is exactly what you guys said, and you guys beat me to it. It's a spin. I think that's been huge for our athletes, is figuring out, because they throw it and it's like, oh, well, you only got 78% spin efficiency. That's pretty ass. Like, you need to do a better job of spinning the ball and staying behind it. And as you're talking about, right, coming across like this. And so I've seen a lot of jumps with that, whether it's been the youth or it's been older players. So that's been nice. The second thing that I like is how quick. That's a big one. I'll be honest, like, and I have no problem blasting Rapsodo. At times, the pitching one takes 25 seconds. Like, I don't have 25 seconds in a session to sit there and stare at the TV for one answer. Like, if I can get it within a second, I'm going to take that over Rapsodo. So I would say that Pitch Logic's done a good job of getting that out immediately, like before the ball even hits. It's already telling you data, which has been huge, because that's the type of training styles that we have. We have a lot of athletes that are coming through quickly, and we need to be able to give them numbers and feedback right away. We can't sit there and waste our time. So that's been a huge thing for us. And then the big thing I noticed, like you're saying, Cash, the worst thing that could happen is it runs hot, right? If I throw 95 on a stalker, but it throws 90, it says 99, I'm going to leave there feeling like Big Daddy. So I don't feel like that's a negative thing. I feel like that's a positive thing. That's something that I didn't communicate with our athletes.
But those are I'm so glad you brought that up, because it's, who cares? Just know that it's there, right? And have multiple as a training facility.
Exactly.
We have the burden of proof. We have to make sure that we have also a stalker and a radar gun and a Rapsodo. Like, it's our job to be like continuing to grow, like you said. But for the average consumer, like, this offers kids everywhere to have something that cleans up their training now. So it's hard to argue with that.
They need to have it. I would agree. Like if Pitch Logic, if you're listening, you should be partnering with Little League. Like, that would be kind of my thing. Don't let Diamond Connects beat you because they're in Easton's backyard. Just going to throw that one out there on a podcast live.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with them, though. Here's what I enjoy about the company, right? Is this is okay. So the way that they did this ball does not have to be upgraded. This will be the final version of this ball as far as the technology inside of it for a very long time. And we know how technology progresses fast, right? So the firmware updates that go into this thing can only get better, right? So I know that after talking to David Rankin from the CEO of Pitch Logic, that they will be doing a thing in the future. They just don't know when yet, that will allow you to do your drill work, right? So momentum throws will not be a problem to capture that data.
Yep.
And if you can rip and do spin efficiency at the same time like that, it is going to absolutely create some people that are animals with this baseball, right? And I really think that that's what it's allowing to do. It's allowing some of these people, these pitchers, to get better data faster so they can apply it and be like, you know, we're doing it with Vance, with his changeup and his new changeup and his new two seam that he's playing with it. He's starting to see where it's going. And
dude, you know what? I just thought of something crazy. I've never thought of this in my entire life. Why don't pitchers throw long toss to outfielders as like drill work? Like, throw them long, like, routes,
pop-ups.
Just launch it,
dude.
And you could do it with Pitch Logic balls, so you don't ruin them.
I think
that would be so fun.
That would be so much fun.
I think it would be good. I personally think the Pitch Logic would be really good for any individual user. That would be like my personal opinion, is that this thing should be with everybody. It's like a Little League bat. You know, if you have it, you're going to get yourself immediate feedback. You're going to help yourself get better at the game. It's very simple. Like, this is not something that should be owned only by facility owners like we were talking about. I would love to see that. Speaking of long toss there, I went out for my first time and long tossed in a year. I didn't long toss in a year, to be honest. Okay. And I'd long toss on Sunday, and I was throwing the ball 400 feet on a line. Literally no bullshit. So, no, sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. Sorry about
you
that.
Are. Oh, yeah. We're good.
Hey, listen to the WEC podcast.
Hey,
Okay.
Hey, this is us back at your place in Seattle. We're just chilling.
Okay. We're good. We're good.
I don't know if it's that weird.
But it was interesting because I can tell flight path, right? I can throw the ball and be like, gosh, I supinated that or pronated that way too much, right? Because you can see the ball just right taking off. But if you have the pitch logic ball, you're a young kid and you go to long toss, you have no clue. You're just like, oh, the ball went that way, woo, yay! Like, but that's the power of it in long toss. Because then you can see, oh wow, I was really on the side of that ball. But it was a difference for me from going 350 on a line and having that thing sink 20 feet, or having that thing have backspin and just carry over the fence like I'm Big Daddy. Like, and that's what pitch logic can help all kids figure out. And that's what I love it about the long toss cast.
So when we say kids, I just thought of this. So how young can a kid look at this stuff and like be like, oh yeah, I get that. What do you think that threshold is? Is it 12?
9.
Yeah. You think it's 9?
I was going to say 8 or 9.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Unless the kid's lost in the birth lottery, like he's behind, like there are some athletes that just like aren't mentally there. Like I get it. Like I'm not saying that he's like slow. What I'm saying is that like some take longer to develop. It's just the way it goes. If you have kids that are like somewhat halfway witty, like they'll figure it out at 9 or 10 pretty easily. They'll look at it. Oh, look, it's been
I was just could you imagine if you started them at 7, like, and just really just like.
Well, I'm asking because I think the key is like if you have an 8-year-old, don't tell them what to do. You know, like if you're using pitch logic with your kid, you should probably be like sitting back and like letting them figure out the app, like teach it, like let them play it like a video game and really let them do it because, you know, the point would be the whole point of technology is to put it back into the athlete's hand, right? Mm-hmm. So if you can just be like, hey, well, look at your hit tracks number and like, oh, now I'm twice as good, like that, everybody wins because I get to sit and watch you and like make sure that you understand now how to play the game too, right? And how to be a good human being. But if you know how to like get your swing off and throw the ball where you want to, like, what are we talking about anymore, right? Then we're good.
Yeah, they need to say it like that. That was a very good way of saying it. Play it like a video game. I'm serious. You need to remember that. That was very good.
For sure.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Think about it. Like, what's Hit Tracks do? They have their leaderboard, and everybody's trying to compete to be on that thing. And then, like, could you imagine that you could just be in a community on a leaderboard, and it shows Dylan Matanzas' fastball or Chapman's, or well, you could see the spin rate, and it's all like, well, that's what these like. We're not talking. It's kind of like how golf puts all of their numbers out on like. Now when a guy comes up, because everything's on flight scope, like you see the guy's average club speed, you see the guy's average distance, you see the guy's history. Like they're showing 3D models in like 10 seconds of each drive the guys had, you know, and where the average ones of the ones are landing of the day of the people playing. So, you know, the technology's there. That I just don't think Major League Baseball realizes how much better it would make the game if we could see all this.
I got another idea I forgot to tell you. So I've been doing on 20% days. This kid from Massachusetts that I'm working with, I had him do like, so he does 2 knee drill and he was like throwing 55 on Pocket Radar. And by the way, he just got a pitch logic ball too, I'm pretty sure. So he's going to have Pocket Radar and pitch logic. But anyway, and I'm like, okay, you can't move on a 20% day. You can't move on past knee throws until you hit 60, 59, 59, 59, 59, 62. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. And then I did. So when he started being able to use momentum in K drill and sideways walking throws, then it was like, okay, you can get a 75. Okay. And this kid can hit like 82 so far. Okay. Throw a 75. Okay. Now you have to throw a 68. And those 68s are they're telling of everything, how it works. Like if a kid doesn't know how to control his body, he doesn't know how to control his back leg, he'll start accelerating and then slow down to throw the ball 68. Like, so that's what I always tell kids about John is, and I tell this to pro guys, like everybody, what's so impressive about watching John throw is his low effort throws are rooted in the same movements as his high effort throws. And then all he does is like turn the volume up, where a lot of people are like volume all the way high. And then they're just like putting pillows on the volume, like, you know, like dampening everything instead of like managing it. Right. So it's an interesting, I hadn't ever done that before. And then it's like, it also ticks him off because then you'll be like, okay, you get that 68. It took him like 8 throws. And then you'll be like 74 and they'll get it like right away. And it's like, oh, really? Yeah. So, and then last thing, just while I'm got the floor and then I'll sit back. The last thing that I haven't, that I've been getting people to do is duck out. And so I don't know if you've played with this, but
No.
I don't know if you know our client Bobby. Okay, but Bobby has struggled with command. Okay, he worked his butt off and has gained tremendous. He's gotten way better. And I opened him up. Did I tell you this, by the way?
No,
dude. Bobby threw like 30 of 40 pitches right at his target. Like this is unheard of with Bobby's command. And what we were trying to do is he opens up so much, like his chest is almost facing home plate when his front foot hits the ground. And so we've always been like, chest got to be sideways. Get more close, get more close, get more close. And I opened up his feet and didn't close off his front or his lower half, but his upper half is going to want to do that anyway. And it was unbelievable. So those are the biggest things that I've been like through this remote training stuff is, I get a little bit of Taylor and Vance, and I've played with that a lot, but they're kind of in their groove right now. They don't really want to be messed with. So with my remote training kids, just doing this, unreal how fast it gets them in their glute. And that's not even, I didn't think of that. That's the Doug Latta thing, where a lot of his first guys, he'll get in, because when you open this up, you can't create momentum. You have to use your glute to make a move. There's no other way to do it. So when you close off the front side, now you can use momentum, which is you need both skills, right? You got a phone call. All right, just
hey, jump back in. Hold on. Yeah, dang. Hold on. Sorry, guys. That's interesting though, because that makes sense with me, because I was just playing with that the other day when you were talking about ducking out, right?
Yeah,
and
so it's like, okay, so this is how Garrett Cole throws, right? So Garrett Cole takes the most neutral thing ever. And so good athletes, if they can trust center and balance, they can move unbelievably fast, right? And so when you see guys like, the big, huge leg kick guys from the past, right, you got to realize this is a really smart adaptation for them to make. Right, when you see a lot of the Asian players have huge momentous leg kicks, right? There's huge advantages to that because a lot of those dudes, like big Asians, are like what 6'1", 6'2". There's not like what it's just that's how they're built, and so they have to find more creative ways to do it. They can't just like speed game everything or just power game everything. They'll never win that way.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of going back to things that you're noticing, right? A lot of the college players around here, because there's a lot of old school coaches here, and I'm not really gonna like shy at it. There's a lot of people that have the throw harder mentality. They get out there and just pound the strike zone, and there's no actual coaching going on, whether it's biomechanical, it's mental, whatever it may be. When we get these college guys in, they have absolutely no clue how to control their 50, their 60, their 70, their 80, their 90. It's almost like it's foreign to them. And I'm like, dude, you're a very successful 20-year-old pitcher. You should be able you should understand how to be able to throw 20% and still have the same, right? You're talking about that same foundation or organization of the body. Like that shouldn't be hard for you to do. And that's what's interesting is when I personally, so like we've been putting a lot of emphasis on sticking our blocks, right? Long D cells, right? I'm really just buying into this, and I'm seeing a lot of growth when it comes to biomechanics, being able to repeat them at a high frequency versus having them break down when they get to a high frequency, right? As you're talking about with the pillows, trying to go over the stereo, right? The output completely changes, or not the output, but the frequency waves that they're throwing on completely changes, right? So getting them to understand that 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 has been a huge development in not only their arm longevity, their biomechanical patterning, their pitch depth. I mean, if there's something that coaches need to really buy into, I personally say the drive line, right? The drive line, the plyo balls, the understanding of your hybrid A, your B, your recovery days. As you guys have more specificity to that, 20% days, 30% days, I think coaches need to really hop on that. I don't think if you're going to be teaching throwing, you should be always teaching 100% throwing, and that's what the majority of coaches around the country are doing. A lot of guys like us are brand new. We're new age thinkers, right? We make sure to take care of the arm. We have different reps and set counts based off your drill volume. Like, I think that that's a direction that we need to go. And Cass, you're touching light on it. If you're able to do that, you're able to find different efficiencies. Like you're talking about the glute load because you got him ducking, right? You got him opening up. And that's a big thing that us coaches need to pay more attention to and be okay with, open-minded to.
And with that, like you can, just small thing, you can, with the pitch logic ball, you can just like put a memo in on what drill you're doing and then track it at the same time with what you're doing. Right. And so it just adds to, like you're saying, like the college guys aren't allowed to throw in front of a radar gun every time. So the feedback idea doesn't make sense to them. They don't get it. Right. Yep. So when we have people in the gym that are like, your warm-up throws, your lean back throws, your K drill, you get feedback, right? You want to be able to
matter,
and it means something.
That's why we're measuring it, because it matters.
Yeah. And if you're looking at this idea as like the radar gun is bad and it's going to teach you a bad thing, like the radar gun will also, like, you'll learn from it. Like it might be good for you to actually do like throw too hard in front of it and be like, you know what, I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should have backed off. What the heck was I doing? Right?
Yeah.
Like, and being like, you have to learn, like we're idiots sometimes as ball players, right? And we go way too hard. I know.
You see a number and you just think number. That's all you think of. You become stupid. You become so stupid as a thrower. It's like, okay, hey, we could be working on sequencing. We can work on tunneling, pitch step. I mean, there's a plethora of items that you can choose. And it's not the multiple choice question that we're giving ourselves. It's like we're giving ourselves the one answer. We see velo, throw hard. That's it. Yep. But that's not coaching. That's not training. That's not player development. Like it's completely backwards. It's false.
I want to give this guy some props real quick. He said something the other day. And I used it in a remote training session yesterday. I hadn't told you about this.
Okay, Phil.
So I had two kids throwing, two 9-year-olds throwing, and we do strike competition. And they have a target, the 1 through 9 target. And I told them, okay, we're gonna lower our standards today. Okay, we're not gonna try to be. We're just gonna try to miss in the box instead of being 1 through 9. Or like 7, 8, 9, the bottom 3, the whole thing is good, right? And if you go close to it, I'll be a judgment call, and if it's close, I'll give it to you, right?
Yep.
Okay, so when they lowered their standards, then I raised up. Okay, so here's the only stipulation: you got to stay above 52. That's it. You guys have already shuffled and gone from there. So once we got them to lower their standards, they're ripping 59s and 58s right in the middle of the box, smoking the 5. And so one is terrible and bounce it. And I go, hey, your standards are too high if you care that much. Like, think about the 15 you just did. And so, I don't remember where he got that from, but, we play off each other like that. We hear things and he says stuff. And, he's into the psychology of the thing. And it was, once they lowered their standard on it and they weren't afraid of the number, like, oh, well, that's, and I'm like, instead of making it like where their number should have been like 58 or 59, I said it just so achievable. Then I was like, well, let's just see how much over you can do it, And so it was, they were PRing inside of this little strike competition game. And then they went like it was 1st to 3. And I think they went to like 7 overtimes between the two of them.
Yeah.
Right. These two little competing.
Well, speaking of just the changing the stimulus, right? It's changing your training method. What's funny is like a lot of the older guys, right? They see the radar gun, they're trying to throw hard. And it's like, we do primarily a lot of, 70, 90, 50 days, right? It's very rare I'm going to have them come in there and I'm like, hey, let's just throw 100%. Because I personally don't believe that they're doing enough in the weight room or they're not on the right strength conditioning, which is where I push, obviously, who I believe the optimal, right, Andres. Or they're not patterning up well enough that I think that they need to get throwing 100. Like that's just my personal opinion. When you watch him throwing, I don't think I should let you off the leash. But you should see the moment I do let him off the leash, and like there's a great kid. He's coming in here. He's throwing like 84, 85, and I'm like, bro, just trust me. You're doing a great job with your block. You're working on your decel. Like I promise you're going to throw well over 90. He comes in on his 100% day, throws 96, and he's like, oh my gosh, he's all tripping out. He's like, can't believe I did it. And I'm like,
96.
Well, dude, yeah, 96. It was a pull down, but it still like how fantastic that kid. Like, hey, bro, you got to trust the process. All I'm trying to teach you is how to pattern up better, so that when you hit, like as John does, you turn the volume up, boom, everything goes. And as soon as he saw that, he's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And the next thing you know, I got 4 other kids on his team trying to come in and do stuff. And I'm like, this is how it should be. It shouldn't be us that are leading this. Everybody should be listening and should be paying attention. Cass, you do a great job. John, do a great job. There's other people like us that are leading this. And I think that this is where baseball needs to go, because we're seeing huge dividends. People are prioritizing the right things, the sequence, the order, the chain.
Yeah, I mean, what I just keep on getting caught up in is how much this starts taking you into people's lives, right? And then it's where.
Oh, did we lose you? I'm looking hot now. Ooh.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Hey, I can hear it's a little mumbled. I'm like literally right next to my router. But you're it bounced a little bit.
That's weird.
And maybe we're back. All right, I think we're back.
You think we are? I don't know what's going on.
It's catching up now. I'm like literally on top of my router, so.
I think it's literally the connection. I'm not sure what's happened. I think it's okay.
Well,
anyway.
So I was just saying, so when it's like we weaponize them, and it's, it was something that I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is happening now. I'm like, I know for a fact this is happening. People have talked about it. I see it. The confidence that kids get when they acquire a skill like throwing, it's unbelievable how it makes them feel in other parts of life, right? So when we have kids that come in and they're throwing like 45 and their friends are throwing 52, and then they get up to their friends and then they start like competing against their friends. Oh my goodness. It's they don't come in different. Like it's a completely different kid a year later. Yeah. And I used to say this all the time, like speaking of like Bobby gains like 65, 70 pounds or whatever it is. Like kids will completely transform the way that they look, and the way that they walk and talk and act. It's just, it's unreal, man. So
that's such a good feeling. Such a good feeling. Good job, you guys. I mean, you guys do a great job. I'm serious. You guys do a great job of motivating.
It's so fun though.
That's what I was gonna ask you about. Like how, so the people that don't know you,
dude. How about Seabass? That like kids like Seabass, right?
Yeah. Seabass is ahead. Like that's okay. There's a few athletes, and I think you can think of the same thing, of people that walk into your facility and they're mentally so far ahead. And this is kind of a personal story about Seabass. So Seabass is listening to this. He's going to fully enjoy where I'm going with this. There is a select organization, and we used to train outside of their facility. And the owner was giving Seabass a hard time on one of his misses, right? He rolled one over, and he said, oh, looks like another F6 right there. And Seabass immediately, without a thought, turned around and goes, not against your shitty teams. And and you should have seen the guy. He got a little butthurt. And next thing you know, Seabass has got this adult pin, like verbally pinned. This guy just needs to tap out. It's over, dude. You lost. Kid won. But that's the type of kid Seabass is. And I kind of talk him like, hey man, you're so confident, you're so good that you might need to like tone it down a hair, because people get uncomfortable, people get nervous around that because they don't feel like they're ever going to win. And I was like, bro, you're playing varsity as a freshman. You're going to get yourself in a little bit of a heat, probably with some seniors there, because you're able to talk better than them and you most likely play better. But short story, Seabass is a savage. He's doing great. He's in quarantine at home right now. A lot of the athletes.
He was the one that came to the clinic, right? That we did, right?
Yep.
I'm so happy for that kid.
Yeah, Seabass is a savage, bro. Seabass will do just fine. He'll play college ball, and if he gets some size, he'll probably have an opportunity to play pro ball. So
that's
cool. Super cool.
But the cool thing is too is like he loves the process, and that's what I was going to ask you. Like, I feel like when he says weaponize, and I've seen you, I know your antics. You've created this environment with a flamethrower because it's fun, right?
Yeah.
So like these ideas that you come up with, man, like they're so much fun, and people are scared, right? Like people like, you know, that guy, like, would you let your son go in there? 1,000% yes. Like you got to understand where it comes from. Can you tell the people about like what the idea is behind your place and like what you're trying to do?
I'd say honestly, and this is kind of goes back to myself, I'd say, and I think a lot of ideas incubate with the self when it comes to like your environment and who you are. I think that for me, I needed to know that it was okay to fail. I needed to know that it was okay to experiment, be creative. I felt like I had a lot of pressure when I was younger to be really good. And my dad was just an unreal athlete. And I felt a lot of pressure there, and, you know, creating an environment where athletes can come in, they get good instruction, there's discipline, right? There's structure to it, but they can yet fail and not feel like there's any emotional or negative result oriented implications. And I think that that's where a lot of coaches don't understand character. And the environment that we have is like select, it's handpicked. I don't want to bring in everybody or anybody. You know that. You're the only person that's ever done a camp with my clients, like, to be just straightforward. I don't ever let anybody in because an environment is super sensitive. If you bring in the wrong people, it'll affect it completely. And so that's why I do these antics. I see that it works. It creates a rare or a incremental growth with progression. And I feel like the more that we're able to get ourselves around people like yourself and build this environment, like, no one's going to compete with us up here. I mean, you might have more money than me, Driveline, but I'm coming, baby. I'm coming tough. And I am going to train like no other until I'm able to compete and keep athletes like that, because I love the game so much and I love training. Like, I will do this until the day I die. So you better be ready. And I think that's the same with you guys.
So I think the thing that just screams to me is like the gang and how, like, you know, I have been scared in the past to like lean too hard into a certain way because I don't want to. Dude, there's so much value in just like leaning into exactly who you are, right? And then just like blowing it up, right? Because like young men love this, young boys love this, right? And it's like, this isn't news to anybody, right? I'm not saying anything that people don't know. Like, what, dude? Being a teenager is a weird time for everybody. Yeah. Right. And as you're going through that, you're not like leaning on your girlfriends, right? You're leaning on your dudes. And when you can have guys that are like-minded, that are just going hard, it doesn't matter what it is, dude. If you have theater friends that are like into it, that's all I'm saying. It doesn't matter what you're doing, right? Like the biggest thing when I was in, I played trumpet through college. And I was not very inspired to be in band. But my sophomore year, 2 dudes joined the band from Eau Claire. One of them played, I don't know if you know the band, Bon Iver. Guy won a Grammy in 2012. But John DeHaven is the trumpet player on the title track For Emma Forever Ago. One of the best songs I've ever heard. Okay. These guys were brilliant. And he was the 4th trumpet player at the Eau Claire Jazz Band. The 4th. That's how good the Eau Claire Jazz Band is like, this dude was brilliant. And anyway, I was inspired by how psycho they were, right? Like the other guy, Dan, bass player, just fantastic. Yeah, unreal. And so that's what you're doing, right? Like you can't just do flamethrowers and not back it up with the kind of, you know, not just like human development, right? Like you have to help kids grow up and be a father figure.
I think that parents trust you. I think that that's the number one thing that I'll always respect, is that, like, at the end of the day, you just had a parent. I mean, obviously I'm not a parent. You guys aren't parents yet. I mean, I plan on being a parent, but you just handed over pretty much your responsibilities for the next 21 years, or that 21-year period. And so if you're able to show that you're able to grow and develop these young athletes, I think parents will build an amount of respect for you, and they'll market you without ever doing any sort of info marketing or publishing on Facebook or whatever it may be. They'll speak the highest words about you in volumes. And so having clients be able to trust us with their kids is huge. And I think that you guys would say the same thing. You guys do a fantastic job down there, that you guys are able to have, 40, 50 people come in a day. That's 40 or 50 people's kids. Think about that for a second. That's a lot of parents. It's 100 parents that trust you. And I think that that's where we lose a lot of trainers, is that they get simple-minded or selfish, and they don't respect the time of the athlete as much as their athlete respects their time. And I think that that's where you and I, or us, have done a good job in training, is that they know that the moment that I'm done training them, the moment you're done training them, you're going to post them on social media. You're going to build them up. You're going to take video. You're going to go watch their video. You're going to send them an email recap, whatever it may be, but you're going to have their best interests always. And that's a fantastic thing that I've seen from you guys too.
I just can't not be in their head, right? I think it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm always thinking about how are other people experiencing this. And if I'm not happy, if I wouldn't want to be on the other end myself, I can't live with it. So I think I was talking to a player last night about having a carrot and having something chase you. So it's like, if you want to like get a rat to move fast, you like starve it and then go give it cheese. But if you want to make it move real fast, want to make it move real fast, you'll starve it, give it cheese, and then put a cat on the opposite side of the cheese, and it's going to go twice as fast. And so some of this stuff, like I always, you got to know when to turn it on with the older kids, and obviously the younger kids is a different thing. But I'm like, this is primal, right? This is simply just like, hey, you got to understand the difference between right and wrong, in the same way that you got to know how to, be balanced in your finish. It's the same stuff.
Exactly. So, hey, ready for this one? So we have this kid, and he hits the ball, like literally exit velocity can be up to like 104, right, when he's hitting. And he misses a lot. And so I was like, all right, I've tried the nice guy. I've tried biomechanics. We've gone through the whole spiel. So I was like, hey, every time you miss a pitch, you get to do 30 seconds of planking, right? And this was like halfway through the session. I'm like, you got like 40 minutes left of hitting. Good luck. Right? And so this kid gets in there and doesn't miss one. He's fouling it off or he's hitting it fair. And so his dad comes up to me at the end. And he's like, I didn't think about this, but when he was in Little League, or when he was even younger, I used to go out to the field with him, and I used to give him a point system. And every single time that he'd able to get to the point system, I'd get him a gift, whether it was, going to get ice cream, whether it was going to get a new bat, whatever it was. But he's like, I didn't really think about how much that impacted him until I just watched those 40 minutes after you said that. And he goes, and so I tell him, I'm like, hey, this is exactly how I'm treating you every time you come in to train. Like, you're getting the plank awareness program. So it's just interesting how that works, the carrot idea.
Yeah. I just thought of another idea. Yesterday, I'm training another kid from the East Coast. He's 7, and we've talked a lot about like the mental side of things and like calming kids down. So I needed a way to calm this kid down and make him not think. So he was just all over the place in the K drill, and he just simply needed to be balanced and then, use his backside and throw the ball. I had him start doing the ABCs. And it was instant. I'm like, yes. Okay, so I go ABC, and he had to get to like T, and then it was like, okay. And then I started going, okay, no, start at J. And he goes, JLMNOP.
Hey.
Good, keep going. Yeah. Okay, throw it. Right. And so these little simple tricks, it's so fun because I know that there's this nervousness. And then I'm just impressed, I suppose I'm saying I'm proud of myself for noticing that this is a 7-year-old, and the ABCs and 1, 2, 3 are really accessible, right? And so then I had him start counting. I'd say like count backwards from 30 and then 20. And that was so fun for me to watch. I'm freaking 3,000 miles away from this kid, and I just got him to go, and then he was just ripping balls, ripping it. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, look at that. I see you, Mr. Genuine, in the back, baby. You looking good. You looking good. You sip that success juice right there. You sip it there,
baby.
sir.
Yeah.
Dude, hey,
we played. I got this most annoying chirp I've ever heard in my life. Baby, hum, baby, hum, baby, hum, baby, hum, baby, hum, baby, hum.
Hell yeah.
Osseo kid.
Dude, I can't.
Osseo?
Yeah, Osseo is our rival, yeah, but let them know who won always.
Yep. All right.
Always.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Baby.
So something for you, John. When I'm throwing here. So I don't know if anybody knows, but I'm going to break all of Driveline's plyo records here in 4 weeks. I'm going to take all of them. I'm going to be the #1 guy on all the plyo balls. I am been determined to beat all of the records. So it's here now. You can hear it first, but I'm going to go for all the plyo records that they have, like the rockers.
What are they? What are the records right now?
Okay, I'll pull it here. I'll show you here. Because I got them written on the whiteboard because I look at them obsessively every day just so I can remind myself.
Dude, my heart rate is going so fast right now. I didn't know this was a thing.
This is definitely a thing. Hold on, let me flip it here. Okay, I flipped my camera if they'll do. Okay, so the DL is their records, and this is how far off I was when I tested them like a month ago. So I'm 3.1 off, so you can see mine 78.7, 75.6. So you can see 4.6, 5.8, 4. I didn't do rocker with the blue ball. So you can see 5, 3.2, and 0.1 off on those. So those are the records: 90.8, 97.8 with the yellow walking windup, 102.4 with the walking windup gray. There's 74.4 with the rocker B, or with the rocker blue, rocker red, 86.5, rocker yellow, 92.4, and then rocker gray, 96.1.
This is exciting.
So I'm going to be going for all of those.
Can you get a camera crew and make this a full-on event, please? Please.
Yeah, I definitely am. Yeah, we get people in there.
Why are you doing this, Cordell?
To do that.
Yeah, what's the purpose? Where's the inspiration?
Because so we've had. Well, I personally want to show that what I'm doing works. That's one. I want people to know when they come in here that I respect myself just as much as the athlete that I'm training. So I make sure that I know the stuff that I'm testing out is working. I know that the strength conditioning program is working. I know that the supplements, whatever it may be, is working, right? So that we can do a good job of incorporating that communication to the athlete. But secondly, I want them to know I don't have the money that the Driveline has, or these other huge facilities, but I can guarantee you're going to see the same amount of gains without that technology. I can see it, right? I've got a camera that can slow things down. My eyes do a good enough job of picking up these deficiencies, and I want the athletes to know that, hey, I might not have all those fancy gadgets, but I can definitely teach it exactly the same. And there's a lot of connection because we've had Driveline shut down up here. And then I have had probably, 10 other athletes come in, and I can see exactly what they're working on. I'm like, hey, it's this, and this, isn't it? Boom. They show me their program. It's exactly what it is with their biomechanical analysis. And it's like, see, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure this out. It doesn't take hundreds of thousands of dollars. I can do the exact same thing. And that's another thing that I want to be able to say is, hey, like I can do this too up here. So, and then after that, on my birthday, you're going to see me throw 100 off the bump. That is going to happen. That is going to be my birthday gift to the world.
When's your birthday?
Is June 28th. So I'll test. I'll deload for a week before I test the plyo balls, and then I'll go through another 2 programs, and then I'll go on my birthday for that 100 miles an hour. But to give you guys perspective, I got 98 the last time I did it. So with a stalker. And
hey, if it was 90 of the stalker, just saying, it might have been a hundo with a pitch logic.
Hey, wait. Well, the pitch logic ball is going to be thrown in that, so they can get data on that.
I want to see it. I can't wait. Yeah. I cannot wait to see this. Please, if you guys don't follow this absolute savage, he's only talking about throwing. The guy also hits bombs from his knees.
Hey, dude, I thought that was so sick. It got like
that was a great video.
Bro, I sent all that stuff to Sports Center. No love. It's just 0 love. I'm like, bro, I'm throwing it out from my knees. Bro, like, how is that not sick? Like, come on. Who does that?
Dude, you should have sent it to Pitching Ninja.
Did you see?
There you go.
Have you seen the Share Your Music stuff with Stephen Piscotty and Willie LaMarche?
No. Is it pretty good?
Well, so nobody's doing it besides me and like 4 or 5 other people. But LaMarche was on MLB Network, and he's been like sharing my videos. So it's
way.
Funny. I'm not very good, but it's been fun because like quarantine. What's up? Just playing my music.
Look at you! I see you out there getting that plug because I saw you guys had him on the podcast, right? Am I correct there?
No. Who?
No. Aren't you guys gonna have somebody on from? No, it was No, it was 110%. Sorry, it's 110%.
No.
Because I was supposed to, yeah.
I mean, maybe I could ask Mr.
You should maybe we can do because I can have 6 people at once on this platform. Maybe we could set up a
Dude, honestly, I think it would be a disaster.
You shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
You know who we got tomorrow?
No,
We
who?
got Gene Larkin and Kerry Leitenberg. And all I'm going to do is talk to them about baseball in the 90s.
Yeah, Kerry
Yeah,
Leitenberg.
well,
Tell us about.
hey,
Give me
you're
a
gonna get
Braves story.
Hey, well, you're gonna give Coach Ballgame a chub.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Hey, so
By the way, listen to the WEC podcast. Man, there was a one line that not safe for work at all.
Yeah, not at all.
He
We'll
got
save that
real
for
uncomfortable.
Sounds like Robbie talking.
Hilarious.
Hi.
All right, so tell me a little bit more about Optimal. Andres, how'd you get to know him? How long you been working with him? Maybe a little bit about, I found it interesting about the details of the program, about how he does it.
So he reached out to me actually on Instagram. And we had kind of gone back and forth over talking. I was like, yeah, dude, I'm down in the area. And he was pretty close to Scottsdale at that time. And my mom lives 15, 20 minutes north of Scottsdale. So I was like, yeah, I'll come down and work out with him. The funny part about when I worked out with him is that this is when I was on my own program and I was, working out like literally twice a day. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a badass. I gained 25 pounds in that year, did absolutely nothing with my velocity besides make me slower. And so I went down and worked out with him and I actually threw out my back. If you were to ask him, like I literally threw out my back so tough, bro. Like I had to go home and get Tramadol for my mom just to like walk, and like I had to go to the airport the next day. Like, so it wasn't like the best like interaction in the beginning, but I was like, hey man, like I really like your stuff. Like it's my fault. Like I work out a whole bunch. Like it's not your fault. It's not your training. Like I'll be the one to admit it. And so we got to laugh about it. And so 3 months later, I onboarded. And so it's been little under a year. It'll be a year next month from when I first onboarded with him. And I firmly believe in the conjugate method, what I've seen with our athletes. So we have 43 athletes that are on his program right now. And all of the athletes have seen growth. All of them. I have not had one athlete that has gone down or has plateaued. All of them have been showing, whether it's incremental, but they have been showing growth based off his program. And so how it works with us is we do 3 days a week, and you'll get a 3-week program. And after every 2-3 week programs, you're going to assess. So the assessments are pretty key to seeing whether the athlete is progressing or regressing. And then I kind of pair that up with the skill building side of it when it's the hitting and the throwing. And that allows us to kind of develop a good game plan. But I'll be honest, man, I feel great. I'm 29 years old, like I'm a grandpa in baseball, but I feel fantastic when it comes to this game. And I would say because of him, he's done a fantastic job of developing me. And like to give metrics, my box squat was 250 when I first started. Last time I box squatted, I could do 480. My deadlift is it's 600. I could barely deadlift 400. So my point here is that he knows what he's doing. It's adding potential energy and kinetic energy towards my force vectors, which is allowing me to have a better kinetic chain. Like I have a way better glute and hamstring load. I'm able to sit and engage my lower half a lot better. I have better layback. I have better peak internal pronation. Like there's a plethora of mechanical things that have been developed through my strength building in the weight room. And I think that's where a lot of athletes get it wrong. You don't know what you're doing. I can sit here and tell an athlete, and I don't care how good you are, you have no clue what in the hell you're doing in the weight room. And I have no problem telling you, and that's the reason why I outsourced it to somebody who's made it their living. Like literally that is how that person survives in life, is teaching people how to lift and get the most out of their body. Go partner up and go pay for that, because that is where you're going to see the biggest dividends, in my personal opinion, is in the weight room. I think that we can skill build all day, but the best thing that you're going to see when it comes to your numbers is weight room. You're frozen on me, Big Sexy. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine. I think just the video is kind of chopping in and
Okay.
out. But so it's very intriguing to hear some of your stuff and everything. So you've been with him a year. One of the things that I've noticed too, just in following this journey with you and seeing you, especially with the doctor, and I'd like for you to talk about him next, the guy that you're working with. It definitely seems like you're moving fast. You like I said, your numbers are going up. I've noticed a lot of the explosive stuff that you're doing with him. It's fun to watch, man. It really is. So the doctor, what's his name again? And tell me who the doctor that you're working with also. Yeah.
Brandon Bridgman. So Brandon Bridgman is a chiropractor, and I mean, he is fantastic, to be honest. He does great soft tissue and adjustment work. And so when I went in, I had a common problem with my L5 sacrum. It could have been I had a knee out, whatever it may be. But as I progressed, so I've been doing it twice a week. I do it Tuesdays and Fridays. I've been doing it twice a week with him. And since then, I mean, it's maybe a sacrum. It might be a neck. So I might have something up in the C's. But besides that, it's been fantastic being able to see how my body recovers. And then with his guidance, I've onboarded some necessities. So some adrenals, some liver and intestine, right? Some collagen. And with his guidance, I've seen a lot of growth when it comes to the ability to recover, my range of motion.
Those are supplements, correct?
Supplements, yeah.
Yes.
So just
could you list those again?
Okay, collagen. Obviously, I was already taking creatine. I've got a Pro Cleanse that cleans out your liver and your gut. I have liver and intestine pill, just kind of keeps the lining of the walls nice and healthy. Trying to take care of the adrenals, the wound healing gland, which is extremely important as a thrower. The moment I took those, I noticed that my arm felt way better. My body felt way better just because I was doing a good job.
Send me that info if you wouldn't mind?
Here. Hold on. Yeah, I'll send it to you. Hold on. Let me just pull them up. I have them actually here because I brought them in today for some of the college athletes. So I'm taking here. I'll flip it here. Oh,
I find this interesting because, everybody kind of has their own blend of what they've been. Oh, lost him for a second. So Cordell's going over some of the supplements that he's taking, and it's not a normal multivitamin. It's he was talking about collagen, which I know is good for elasticity. It's actually good for your skin, but it's also good for your tendons, which is very interesting right there. So I've never heard a person recommend that for a performance enhancing situation. So that's really interesting.
Hold on here.
I was just saying that I've never heard of. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the creatine. Okay. So I'm taking the clean creatine, hydrolyzed collagen. So the reason why it was important for the hydrolyzed is because it doesn't have the cell walls broken down. So most collagens, at least 99% of them, they're going to be mushed down. So if like friction creates heat, right, which then breaks down the cell walls. So if we do a good job of taking hydrolyzed, so it's actually frozen, it doesn't break down the cell wall, which means your body's going to have better retention with inhibiting it. So I got the hydrolyzed collagen, I got the creatine I take. We've got the Pro Cleanse. So this helps clean out your gut. I do this in the morning. I take one thing of it in the morning. We got your aminos. So it's like literally flavored water. Your body needs aminos. They're your building blocks. You're going to carry things from back and forth. I've got my turmeric right here. Then I've got my tendon and ligament support. I've got my fish oils, omegas.
Yeah.
And then I have my adrenal support. So that's all the stuff that I am taking as soon as I don't know, say about a month into working with him. We just talked about it. I said, hey, is there anything that I can add? I asked questions. I made sure that, everything that I'm onboarding is approved. So any college athlete, any professional athlete could take all those things. There's not like you're going to, pee and the next thing you know, it's like, hey, come to my office. Let's talk about your piss test and how you failed it. Like none of these would be taken by my athletes and have something negative happen with them. So
full performance.
Yeah.
Get everything that you possibly need to become a professional athlete.
How do you do that with what do you do? I didn't miss anything on nutrition, did I? Did you talk about nutrition?
No, we were just talking about how the doctor was.
Tell me about nutrition.
So the doctor. Well, staying on supplements here for a second, but the doctor talks about how length is strength, right? So if I can have length in my muscles, I'm going to have the strength that I'm looking for, especially as a thrower. I need that elasticity. Length is strength, though, and I love it, dude. This guy's like just preaches it, and so he gets in the soft tissue work. Like it's cool. You can go to the chiropractor and get it adjusted, but if he doesn't do soft tissue, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. The soft tissue is where you're going to see the dividends. And that's why like the first post I put up of Bridgman, there's a few of the driveline instructors that commented, and there's Andres commented and was like, where can I find this guy in Arizona? Where can I find this guy down south? Kent, and that's because there's extremely rare. This guy's a third generation chiropractor. His dad's dad did it, and so he understands the body and the anatomy in a way that I've never met with a chiropractor. And the adjustments that he's able to perform, the soft tissue work he's able to perform. I mean, for me, it's posterior. It's under my scap. Since I lost my anterior labrum, my scap retraction has been less. And so, to be honest, after doing 2.5 months of soft tissue work, I can do that. I can do my posterior range of motion. So, where you put your hand behind your back and see how far up it can go. Yeah. My hand goes up the same height as my glove hand. That wasn't as good as before surgery. Usually you have that throwers that, right, their elbow flexion is less because they've been putting on,
pretty bad.
Right? And so that's what I was talking about. It's like, bro, when I came in there, mine was flat, like literally flat, like my elbow's the same height. My hand literally reaches up and touches the top of my scap now because of the soft tissue work. And that's dividends, bro. That's
what? I was going to mention that because I remember seeing a video or a photo from showing your back, right? And I could see a winged scapula when you were starting. And then I remember, that was a long time ago, but I remember recently seeing it and then being like, oh, wow, like you can definitely see some symmetry to his back now. You look way more aligned. So that's interesting.
Have you guys talked synapse?
No, we haven't talked.
No, we have not talked synapse. Hey, so the meal, hold on, we'll knock out the meal, we'll get synapse.
But so length, though, no, okay, so I won't go in depth. I'm just saying length. Okay. That's what you're saying. So that's length.
Yeah, it has to be. Length is strength. Now, okay, we could get off. Hold on. I need to stay on this because I'm going to lose it. I'm going to get so excited here with you guys. But there's a few athletes that come in when it speaks to length and they get too far outside of their center of gravity with their stride. Do you guys see this commonly too, where they're going to stride 100, 105, 110% of their height, and that's not optimal. That is not where you're going to see the dividends. Most of our athletes, it's that 85 to 80% of your body height is where you're going to really see everything sync up properly, and you're not going to run into these huge deficiencies, whether it's I've stretched out too far and now I get stuck on my front side, I don't know how to rotate, and my pelvis is in a bad position, right? And then my hands separated too far from my center of gravity. If there's another thing that I can say with length is make sure that the athlete knows how far that they are striding. Like that is such an important thing that we see here. So many athletes think it's the Tim Lincecum. Obviously, since we're Seattle, Tim Lincecum's legendary up here. But I don't need a 6-foot athlete striding 8 feet. Like that's never going to work out besides Tim. It's extremely rare that works out. And that's another big thing, speaking of synapse and length there. So.
Nutrition, you were going to say?
Yes, nutrition. Big thing for me is meal prepping. Bro, I used to have such a bad diet. It was just awful. I drank, I'd go out there and I would eat just everything that I could, and it would be at random times. And so my body doesn't get organized, as you mentioned earlier. I like the way you said that there, Cass. And so I'm set up on a meal plan. I'll either eat at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'll go every 2.5 hours. And so I'll just stick to that, do 6 meals a day, and then I'll cut it, and I'll fast for 13 hours. So usually it's go 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, so 5, not 6, 5. And then I'll cut it, and I'll fast for 13 hours. And that allows me to get new stem cells to regenerate. So since I'm grandpa, right, I'm old man, I need to be able to have stem cells regenerate so that I can heal a little bit quicker. And I've noticed that my body's been able to recover a lot faster due to the fasting portion I do through the night, as well as later on, and then eating on a structured time basis. What about you guys?
Yeah, well, I have been all over the map.
Me too.
My personal life has made me make decisions on my health more than anything. So I'm actually really lean right now just because I haven't had an appetite. And
you look sexy.
there is, but then like there's also there's so many benefits down here. So like I was down to 182 last year, and I'm like 190, 192 right now. And I CrossFitted my face off. So I've put on some muscle, some lean muscle too. But the point is that I don't think people that haven't, messed with their nutrition, especially like teenagers, is like there can be this extreme boost of energy by not eating. And like if you like poke this and pull that and you do it right and figure out what your body likes and what it doesn't like, gosh, I just don't think people really, really understand. And it's challenging because you have to be disciplined, right?
Okay, so you ready for this? Guys, you ready for this? So I cut out my caffeine, right, from the previous time, and I only did it on the weekends. And I saw in 3 months, I saw 3.5, 4 miles an hour on every single one of my plow ball throws go up just because I cut out my 1 cup of coffee in the morning. Everything else in the diet was exactly the same. My body, as soon as I took my pre-workout before I went to go throw, my body was like, wham, just throwing a techno party. It was ready to just hit it. An unreal volume, as you would say. I mean, literally, my body, I was in here and I was
We
like,
are ready to go. Yeah.
just bam, just ready to bang out. And so that's what I've been experimenting with. And so I'm going literally no caffeine. I'm like literally going no caffeine. And I'm just, as soon as I get to that, my body, wham, my body's just going to take off. And I've noticed that. That's been a huge thing. But how many athletes do you know will come and be like, yo, let's get a bang. Yo, let's get one of these energy drinks, bro, and let's hit this. Like, how many times do you see that before a workout, whether it's before or after? Like, they abuse caffeine. That is a huge one that athletes need to cut out. They need to be able to allow their body to naturally produce what it needs versus just throw anything and everything into it like it's a waste field.
It's good. It's great.
Dude, I drink so much caffeine.
Guilty.
I drink so much caffeine.
I'm in a great stance, by the way. Look at this stance. I'm in a long stance, baby. I'm in a long stance after that.
Hey, you just like to stay mobile, really like get, really get supple,
I got to keep up with Cass. Look at him. He's looking all. Look at you. I see you wearing that gear real nice.
Look at this guy.
Yo, let's see it. Yo, pull it.
Nah, it's
he got rid of the man bun.
Something.
Ladies, he's single. He's single.
I have to. Yeah. All right.
You got him.
I love you.
Now he's embarrassed.
I love you. Come on, man. You're looking good. Wear it out. Hey, but no, for you guys, have you guys noticed athletes do the same thing? Because I see it all the time. They come in here, they're like, yo, let's get some bangs, bro. Let's go to Chick-fil-A. Let's eat everything.
Well, I mean, there's just not discipline and structure in most households. I mean, it's I'm not saying it with judgment. It's like, it's a hard thing, so for me personally, what I have done is I have tried to simplify it as much as possible. This quarantine has definitely helped it out. So this was a blessing in disguise. So I'm a huge Jordan Peterson fan. His daughter, Michaela Peterson, is on like beef only diet because she has autoimmune deficiencies stuff. And this has literally saved her life. And so I'm like, gosh, I really want to like just minimize things. So right now I'm trying to, and this is the thing, if I don't plan enough, then I'm going to go to the gas station and get a Snicker bar and something else. So that's the flaw of what I'm doing. But I'm having basically beef, potatoes, bacon, and cheese, and then Brussels sprouts. And then what I need to be doing is I actually, speaking of caffeine, I'm just gonna not listen to you because I love Spark. I love every morning I wake up, I have a Spark with so Spark is an Advocare powder for those of you that don't know, and it's just caffeine and vitamins. And I don't overthink this stuff. It makes my fruit taste amazing. So when I have a fruit smoothie in the morning, I get fiber, I get a ton of extra vitamins because I'm not a big fruit guy. And then I'm just trying to crush my protein and get some veggies in, so I don't, this is a little extreme, but it seems to me that the only thing that you could eat one of would be some sort of protein, right? You can't exist on apples, right?
Exactly.
Like you can, but what are you going to look like? Skin and bones, right? That's not even...
Yeah.
So that's
well, you might get bloated. You might get bloated from all the sugar. I've seen that.
Sure.
We have an athlete, bro. We had an athlete come in here, and I was like, bro, what do you eat? Because he couldn't sleep, and I was like, bro, like, have you tried melatonin? Like, have you tried some creative ways? If you get where I'm going with that, and he's like, well, I usually just lay in bed at like 12, and I don't fall asleep till 4. I'm like, that is a huge problem. That is deteriorating you, bro. How are you supposed to go out there and go to classes and picture? This dude's successful, like a very good picture. And I was like, well, what's your diet? And he's like, well, I eat a lot of fruit. And I'm like, what? I'm like, this is pure sugar, bro. I'm like, look at how your body's going to respond to that. Are you drinking a bunch of water? Well, no. I was like, what are you drinking? He's like, well, I have some Monsters. And I'm like, the level of ignorance and stupidity here is like, educate yourself on what you're doing, and it's in all aspects. And I'm guilty of it. Everybody's guilty of it. If we just see it's common, we'll do it. We won't question it. We won't talk about it.
And that's the thing, is you just have to, but you're talking about surrounding yourself with people, and like that's the expectation, right? And these are hard conversations because now you got kids that are gonna be like, Mom, why does the pantry look like this? You're not helping me here. Like, I don't want those cookies, but I love those grandma's cookies. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just that you just have to make it so obvious to them. But part of it is you got to experience it too, right? You got to feel the difference in it. And it's hard, man. Life's freaking hard, and these kids have a lot of things on their plate. So
it's interesting too, because I've played around with different diets. I've done the carnivore diet. I saw some interesting things for a month. But with my body, you know, I lost a bunch of weight, but I also saw energy go up and down in situations and things which were weird. But just like you said, like different body types, different heritages, there's a bunch of stuff. And so like I actually do better with a fast, an intermittent fast with just coffee, and then I don't eat until like 12 or 1. And then so I'm basically 2 large meals because I like to eat, but like kind of what works for me. It keeps me, I run at a very high level mentally all day, and like I just don't get affected. You know, to me 6 meals a day, you know, it's just there's a lot of work to that, you know, and I'm trying to
for sure
and do stuff too. So it's, you know, if I could have a natural ball player type of gym in San Diego, then I could make everything happen in one spot. I could probably you know.
So I meal prep. So I knock out. So I have already at home, if you were to go in the fridge, I already have the next 2 days already already Tupperwared out. Like I make sure to just knock that all out. And the more that I've prioritized the organization, the more that I've seen. Like it's been very simple. The easier it has been to sleep, the less sleep that I've needed, the more that I've been able to work with athletes, the better the energy's been. It's not like, you know, we're riding that nice roller coaster. Everything's been, you know, even flow as you're talking about. So I'd say just like what you're talking about is experiment, play with yourself, make sure that you understand, okay, this doesn't work, this does work, did it have a positive or negative effect, and pay attention. But most athletes don't pick that up until it's over.
I just was gonna shout out Flex Prep because we have a Kelly, one of the girls at our gym, has a fantastic meal prep company, and it's very reasonable. Very good.
Very affordable.
And I should probably be using it now that you're telling me how my nutrition needs to be even better.
Hey, I'm just saying, man, I'm open. I'm open to ears, man. I want to throw 100 consistently off the bump. I want to throw 100 consistently off the bump, and I'm going to work until I can do it all the time. And that is the goal. I want to be a guy who can say that. It's been my dream my whole life. Let's say that I can throw triple digits off the bump, baby. Let's get those gains, and I'm willing to do anything to do it.
I don't think people understand like what that actually is. Like you're not blessed with it, right? And so that's the argument. The argument is it's just genetics, right? And the more of this genetics argument that I get into, it's a rather interesting conversation, because I've just always been the guy that's like, I just don't agree. You can't tell me, you just can't tell me no, because there's too many examples, maybe not specifically to whatever the objective is, but like of somebody overcoming something just because they just literally didn't take no for the answer, you know?
Yeah, for sure. There's some people, who can wake up. I can think of guys that can just wake up and play. You can think of guys who can wake up and play. It doesn't mean that they're going to be that best for as long as they could be. It doesn't mean that they couldn't reach even farther. The whole point is that if you put in work, you pay attention to what it's telling you, you can probably figure out the direction you need to go pretty quickly. But we're usually blind to it because we're trying to focus on either the future or the past rather than the present. I think that's something that's lost a lot. And we talked about that last year. I think Cass and you and I on the live, we talked about that, is being there in the present, like understanding what's going on in the moment, and stop thinking way down in the future or way behind you, and understand if you're paying attention right in front of you, it's pretty easy to figure out where your future needs to go.
You got to be able to answer some hard questions, though, right? Like, what are you going to do today? And it can't overwhelm you. You can't set the bar too high. You have to set the bar just low enough and have a plan that's not a very good plan, but a plan better than no plan, and
lower your standards.
Hell yeah. Man.
It's funny because then you can just go get the things that you need to get. So
I would agree. Hey, there's one other thing I was going to say. when you guys get your facility, when you guys get your own facility here, and you guys are out there crushing it, I'm coming down, and we're gonna have ourselves a party. I'm saying it right on live, so it's captured for everybody to see. I'm coming down. We're gonna have ourselves a coaching party.
Coaching party. Sounds good. Sounds
Yeah,
like a blast.
yeah. We're gonna invite everybody and anybody. We're just gonna teach them how to coach.
A little certification. How about
Yeah.
certification course?
How
Just
illegal is it to just like start playing music in the background of this?
Go for it. Well,
you
I
could
wonder if
ruin
it'll
it.
get shut down.
Don't do that. Yeah.
What,
Don't do that.
What if it's 15 seconds or less? Does it work?
Yeah, hold on
Yeah,
here.
I think it's 10 now. Actually.
Okay.
We're getting a new piece in the gym. We're getting a new piece in the gym. You guys want to see the gym? You guys haven't even seen it?
Let's walk us through it here.
Okay. Okay, so we've got the TV that hooks up to the Rapsodo. We've got the LED board, obviously, that hooks up to the Stalker. And then we've got a little side thing for the pocket radar. So we got one of these little clips that just sits right on when we're doing both of them.
Where's the
Front
pocket
door,
radar
we've got
display? Right there?
Pocket radar displays here, but you can move it. We can move it right above it, so it just sits right above it too.
I think the iPad looks so much better than the display board.
Yeah, and then we've got this. We've got all our tools. Our tools in here. We've got 3 lanes.
That organization.
We've got 3 lanes. We've got our plethora of equipment in the back. Our $17,000 in hack attacks in the back. Just outrageous.
So you have
set up
dual hack attacks
on both sides.
4.
Four.
You're running 4 hack attacks in one
at the
facility.
Same time.
That's so gnarly.
Yep. And we've
so
got
what if you're running 4, tell me what 4 pitches are coming out.
Fastball, changeup, fastball, curveball, fastball, slider, some sort of variation. And so what's nice is I'm actually getting that K-Motion vest here. I'm actually, as soon as I get off the phone, I'm on the phone with them, and I'm going to purchase that. So I'm super excited for that. And I'll be able to track how athletes and their kinetic chain work against the different pitches. Because you can see it as a coach, right? You can see it on the Rapsodo when it pops up with their spin, whether it's the distance, the exit velocity, the consistency of it. But having that K-Motion vest is going to help us be able to track how the athlete does against different pitches in their outputs. Because some athletes will see a curveball and it'll be like, game on, and they'll just donkey slap it. And then they see a fastball and they take a defensive swing. Like it's interesting to watch, but you know, the hack attacks. I'm telling you, man, if you were a facility and you had bank, you should buy a whole bunch of them, bro. It's unlimited dividends, unlimited. It is the arm that never breaks. Like I can throw for a while, but I'm going to definitely pass out at some time. I can turn that thing on for 8 hours and shoot 100-mile fastballs all day. I'm telling you, if you're a facility, you got to get it. You got to get the hack attacks. I'm sold on them.
That's exciting.
Yes.
Definitely, we are intrigued for sure. When or if that ever happens, we'll see how
it
will goes.
Happen. It will happen. You guys have the best training down there in the area, guaranteed. Look at what you guys do, man. You guys have so much content that comes out that is quality. It's not just BS. You guys have a plethora of content. I don't post as much content as you guys. You guys have more plus content than myself or a lot of other accounts, and I think that that's something that is undeniable. It's very recognizable. I think you guys would agree. You guys do a very good job of publishing at all ages athletes. I mean, you guys work with big leaguers. You guys got Vance out there throwing 2-seamers that are running 20 inches horizontally in the parking lot. You got a big leaguer throwing in the parking lot. That's my whole point. Is you know what you're doing. Is you got a big leaguer that wants to throw in a parking lot. Think about, I've been around a bunch of big leaguers when I was working with Buck when I'd come down there to Arizona, bro, and they would come and hit in this just ragtag cage. I'm talking like I've seen Nolan Arenado, Bruce Maxwell, I've seen Kevin Pillar. I've seen a lot of these big leaguers in person hit in just absolutely atrocious environment because the coach knew what they was doing. It's the same thing with you. You have a big leaguer throwing in a parking lot to you, and it is so cool to watch because you know what the hell you're doing. Sorry, I just had to say it.
Appreciate it. Yeah, he's a blast. It is like playing a video game.
And we got 7-year-olds in basements 3,000 miles away.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. I see you doing K drills, step backs, lean backs, baby. I see you doing it. I see you doing the most.
It's so fun.
It is really fun. Well, hey, I don't want to eat up too much more of your time. We've been going for about an hour and 20. So let's update everybody on where you are. Let's let them know where you are, how they can get a hold of you.
Well, this is it. So when you come down here and you throw your little party, this is what we're going to listen to right here. That's it.
That's hilarious.
There it is. Oh, man.
It's Ween Boys Club.
That's
Ween Boys Club?
Ween Boys Club. Yep.
Hey,
you got to give credit where credit's due, right?
Yeah, tell them Daddy's ready to get down and dirty to their music, baby. All right. Hey, no, Kirkland. We're in Kirkland, Washington. I mean, we've got 6,000 square feet, 3 lanes, a full weight room and gym. I would say that in 5 years, we plan on going 5 times the size of this. So if you're going to be with us and you're going to come here and you want to visit, know that we're always working towards growth and development. And I'm excited to be a part of this process and be fortunate enough to have friends like you that help motivate myself as well as the athletes that we're working with. So I appreciate you having me on here, Johnny. I'm going to give my pose.
For you, for nobody that knows,
you're a gentleman and a scholar.
This 6'8" monster, this guy is enormous, and he's just one of the nicest humans. He cracks me up. He's a blast. Follow him. If you haven't seen his highlight reel, I watched it, I don't know, 6 times, like just of like him, and then him getting excited, and then me getting excited, and then it made me think about when we went up there, we were throwing live to your hitters, and I was watching you pump for sure 97 at your guys, and them swing at sliders like outside of the batter's box. It was hilarious. That's also
what about your cutter?
Can go see that.
Don't forget about your cutter, Cash. Don't forget about your sporadicness, and then deciding to drill my man in the back, bro. I come across that like every so often on the photos when I'm scrolling through, and I love it. I just love it because the look on his face is like, oh my gosh, I got hit in the back again.
The whole scenario that's not on camera leading up to that is so good too. And then I just felt like it was a good troll to put it. That's his happy birthday that I put on there.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh yeah, it was so good, bro. I loved it fully. You guys do it right though. It's fun down there, man. It's fun. You're athletes. You can tell, man. They're smiling. You got people that are trying to hang out and listen to content. Like, think about that. How many times you've been in a facility and you leave, right? You don't hang out. You don't want to hang out, right? You got some other things to do. It looks like from your videos and talking to you that you have a lot of athletes that would just hang out, that would just sit there and want to watch the content. And that's extremely powerful. That tells you that you're doing a very good thing down there, guys.
Yeah, I think that's important, like to have Major League Baseball on in the gym when people are there, because they want to see it anyway,
Facts.
And so, you just kids don't watch games anymore, like my wife and I fight over what we watch. I know we're trying to sign off, but it's hilarious. She just doesn't want to watch baseball. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to the other room. Like, I got to watch
this. There's a Brad Paisley song. Well, I'm gonna miss her, right? Gone fishing, right? It's so good. But yeah, I've gone watching baseball is what I was trying to get at.
That's hilarious.
They just need to make a 20-minute game and put 5 to 8 minutes of advertisements, and it's just game over. It's so easy. Simple.
Boom. Yeah, simple as the pimple.
We could just watch pitch after just bam, 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 bam. Oh,
people would pay so much money.
For sure.
MLB, figure it out. Yeah. All right, Cordell, you're the best.
Talk to you guys soon, man. I appreciate you coming on, man.
Bye.
Thanks again.
Cheers. Thanks for having me, baby. Cheers.